You think your car is just a car. It isn't. Sitting on your driveway right now is the most powerful witness the police have ever had. A machine that quietly records where you go, when you go there, how fast you drove, who you called on the way, and sometimes a great deal more. And almost none of it were you ever actually told about. In the time it takes you to drive to the shops and back, your number plate will be photographed, logged, time-stamped, and stored on a national database dozens of times, by cameras you will never even notice, and that record sits there, waiting, for a year. And that's before we even get to what the car itself is writing down about you from the inside. Now, I'm not telling you this to frighten you or to make you paranoid, and I'm certainly not going to tell you to do anything you shouldn't. I'm telling you because there is a very big difference between being watched without knowing it and understanding exactly what is recorded, who is allowed to see it, and what your rights actually are. By the end of this video, you'll know all three. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the 3 separate ways your own car reports on you: the camera network outside it, the computer inside it, and the little black box you might be paying for yourself. And for each one, I'll tell you what's really tracked and, because I'm a solicitor and not a scaremonger, exactly what the law lets them do with it and what it doesn't. And stay with me to the end, because the third one is the one that genuinely surprises people. It's the one where your car quietly copies things off your own phone, and because that's where your rights, and the things you can actually do about all this, matter the most. I'm Oliver Bennett. For 15 years, I defended people in police stations and courtrooms across England and Wales. And on this channel, I break down what the state can and can't do to you, using the real law, so you're never caught out. Let me be clear right at the start. I'm not anti-police, and most of what I'm about to describe is perfectly lawful and, used properly, catches genuinely dangerous people. My job here is simply to pull back the curtain, because a right you don't know you have is a right you don't really have at all. Quick note before we go on. This is legal education for England and Wales, not legal advice, and I'm not your solicitor. Right, let's start outside the car, with the network almost nobody realises the true scale of. It's called ANPR, Automatic Number Plate Recognition. And once you understand how big it is, you'll never look at a motorway gantry the same way again. Across the United Kingdom, there are, on the latest figures, around 11,000 of these cameras. Not 11,000 a year, 11,000 cameras, running constantly, on motorways, on main roads, at petrol stations, in car parks, on police vehicles. And between them, they read around 50 million number plates every single day. 50 million. In fact, the national systems take in something in the order of 60 million red records a day, and by some official assessments, it has run to more than 80 million. Every time one of those cameras catches your plate, it doesn't just see the number, it records the number, the exact date and time, the precise location, and very often a photograph of the vehicle and sometimes the people in it. And here is the part that matters. All of that is fed into a central system called the National ANPR Data Centre, and it is kept there for a whole year. A rolling, year-long map of everywhere your car has been. Let me make that real, because a national database sounds abstract. Picture one ordinary trip. You drive across to see a friend a couple of towns over. On the way, without you noticing a single thing, you pass a camera on the ring road, one on the dual carriageway, one at the petrol station where you stop for fuel, and 2 more on the main road into their street. Every one of those is now a dot on a map with your plate beside it, a timestamp next to it, and often a photograph. String those dots together and you've got a picture of your whole evening, where you went, how long you stayed, what time you came home. And because it's a national system, the police can do far more than follow one car. They can ask it to show every vehicle that was near a particular place at a particular time, or every car that keeps turning up alongside yours, who you travel with, in other words. That's not science fiction, it's a search box. Now, I'll be fair about this, because most of what ANPR does day to day is honestly mundane, and some of it is genuinely useful. It automatically flags a car with no insurance, no tax, or no valid MOT, and pings a nearby patrol. If that's you, that isn't the camera being sinister, that's you needing to sort your paperwork out, and nothing on this channel is ever going to help you dodge that, nor should it. The concern was never the car that's actually uninsured. It's the year-long record quietly kept on the tens of millions of us who have done absolutely nothing wrong. Now, this is exactly the point where a scaremonger would stop and let you panic, but I'm not going to, because your rights live in the detail. So understand two things. First, this is a location log, not proof that you did anything. It says your car passed a camera. It doesn't say you were driving. It doesn't say you committed any offence. And on its own, it is intelligence, not evidence of guilt. Second, the access to it is supposed to be governed, not a free-for-all. Under the rules, most staff who are allowed to look at that data can only reach back a maximum of 90 days from when it was collected. To go back further, up to the full year, is meant to be reserved for serious, major or counter-terrorism investigations, and it needs a senior officer to authorise it. So it is not the case, whatever you may have heard, that any officer can pull up your entire year of movements on a whim. There are supposed to be limits, and knowing those limits is the first step to holding anyone to them. But the cameras outside are only the first layer, because these days the car itself is watching too. A modern car is a computer on wheels, and it is writing things down constantly. Most new cars now contain what's called an event data recorder. Think of it as a little black box, like an aeroplane's. In the few seconds around a sudden event, a hard braking, a crash, it captures things like your speed, whether you were braking, whether you were accelerating, whether your seatbelt was on. After a serious collision, that data can be pulled, and it can end up as evidence. It has decided court cases, telling a story about those final seconds that no witness could. And juries believe it, because a machine doesn't get flustered, and it doesn't take sides. In more than one dangerous driving case, it was the car's own black box, not a speed camera, not an eyewitness, that showed the driver was doing 70 in a 30 in the seconds before the crash. And that was what decided it. The car told on the driver. On top of that, if your car is a newer, connected model, it may be sending information back to the manufacturer, location, journeys, how the car's being driven, held on their servers under their privacy policy, the one none of us ever reads. And the police can ask a manufacturer for that data, usually as part of a proper investigation. And now the third layer, the one I promised you, the one that surprises everyone, because this isn't the cameras, and it isn't even really the car. It's your phone. Through the car. Think about the last time you plugged your phone into a new car or paired it over Bluetooth and it asked, ever so helpfully, if it could sync your contacts. When you tap yes, the car's infotainment system can copy across an astonishing amount. Your contacts, your call logs, your text messages, the places you've navigated to, sometimes even bits of your photos. And it stores them in the car. Which means if that car is ever examined, and there are forensic tools built to do exactly this, investigators aren't just getting the car's data. They can be getting a copy of your digital life, lifted off your phone and left sitting in a vehicle you might have since sold, or hired, or handed back. People pour their whole world through that little sync button and never once think about what it leaves behind. Let me give you the scenario that should make you sit up. A man part exchanges his 3-year-old car at a dealership. Doesn't give it a second thought. But he'd synced his phone to it the week he bought it. Contacts, texts, every address he'd ever navigated to. He never wiped it. That car is now sitting on a forecourt, and everything about his private life is still in its computer, waiting for whoever buys it or whoever examines it. He didn't lose his phone. He sold a copy of his phone's memory, bolted inside a car, and he will never know who ends up reading it. And that's before we even mention the box you might be paying for on purpose. If you've got black box insurance, telematics to bring your premium down, then you've fitted a device or an app whose entire job is to record how, when and where you drive and report it to your insurer. Add in the private ANPR at the supermarket and the car park and the petrol station, quietly logging your comings and goings for their own reasons, and you start to see the real picture. Your car isn't one witness, it's a whole crowd of them, and most people have never been introduced to a single one. So, deep breath, because here is the part that actually matters, the reason I made this. What are your rights, and what can you genuinely do? Because knowing you're watched is useless. Knowing what to do about it is everything. And I want to say one word to the person who's thinking, well, I've done nothing wrong, so let them look. I understand that instinct completely. But turn it around for a second. The whole point of living in a free country is that you don't have to justify your movements to anyone unless there's a proper reason to ask. A record of everywhere you've been, kept for a year on millions of entirely innocent people, isn't dangerous because you're guilty. It's powerful precisely because you're not. Because one day it could be read by someone who has decided, wrongly, that you're worth a closer look. And now your ordinary week is evidence to be explained away. Rights are not a thing for the guilty to hide behind. They're the floor that the rest of us stand on. First and most important, none of this quietly rewrites the ordinary law of a police stop. If an officer pulls you over, even if a camera flagged your car, they still need a proper power and reasonable grounds to search you or your vehicle. Section 1 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, or Section 23 of the Misuse of Drugs Act for drugs. The camera flagged your plate is a reason to have a look at you. It is not, by itself, automatic grounds to tear your car apart, and you're entitled to ask, calmly, what's the power and what are your grounds? And you keep every other right you've always had. You do not have to answer where you've been or where you're going. A year of ANPR data does not cancel your right to silence. Second, and this is the one almost nobody uses, you have data rights, real ones, written into law. Under data protection law, you can make what's called a subject access request. You can write to your car's manufacturer or your insurer or a private car park operator and require them to tell you what personal data they hold about you and to give you a copy. You are allowed to know what your own car has been saying about you. You can also, in many cars, go into the settings and turn off data sharing, decline the connected features you don't want, and simply not tap yes when it asks to hoover up your contacts. Let me make that concrete, because you have data rights is only worth something if you actually use them. A subject access request is just a letter or an email. You write to the manufacturer or the insurer or the car park operator. You say you are exercising your right of access under data protection law, and you ask them for a copy of all the personal data they hold about you. They generally have to reply within a month, and usually without charging you a penny. And in that moment, the whole thing flips. You are no longer the one in the dark. They are the ones who have to account to you, in writing, for what they've been collecting. And going forward, when you buy or hire a car, you sit in it on day one, and you go through the connected settings, and you decide what it's allowed to gather and send, instead of letting the factory defaults decide it for you. The driver who reads the settings once is in a completely different position from the one who just taps accept all and pulls off the forecourt. Third, the practical habits that cost you nothing. Before you sell your car or hand back a hire car, factory reset the infotainment system and delete your paired phone. Wipe your contacts, your messages, your saved locations off it, so you're not selling a stranger a copy of your life. Think twice before syncing your full phone to a car that isn't yours, and understand what your black box insurance actually records before you agree to it. Now, I have to be crystal clear about one thing, because I will not have this misunderstood. None of this is about dodging the law. You cannot and must not try to evade ANPR, drive without tax or insurance, or hide from lawful checks. That's an offence in itself, and a serious one. This is about the opposite. It's about the honest, law-abiding person understanding what's collected about them and using the rights the law already gives them to see it, to limit it, and to hold the system to its own rules. Now, everything I've walked you through here, what ANPR really records and how long they keep it, what your car and your phone quietly hand over, when the police can and can't search your vehicle, and exactly how to make a data request and lock your information down, I've put all of it, in plain English, into one short handbook for England and Wales. It's called Know Your Rights, and it's the thing I wish everyone had before they needed it, with the wallet scripts in it too, the exact words for a roadside stop, and the templates for getting your own data back. If this video's been useful to you, that book is the whole of it, organised and ready, and the link's in the description. So let me bring it home, because under all the alarm, it's actually quite simple. Your car is watched from the outside by a network of 11,000 cameras that log your plate 50 million times a day and keep it for a year. But that's a location record, not proof, and access to it has rules. Your car watches you from the inside, a black box for the crash, telematics for the manufacturer, and an infotainment system that copies your phone if you let it. And you are not powerless in the middle of all that. A camera flag is not grounds to search you. You keep your right to silence. You can demand to see the data they hold. You can switch the sharing off, and you can wipe your information before it ever leaves your hands. Being watched isn't the same as being caught out, as long as you know what's happening and what you're entitled to do about it. If this helped you understand even one thing about the machine you drive every day, do me a favor and send it to one person you care about. Because everyone you know is driving around inside one of these, handing over more than they realize, and almost none of them know they've got any say in it at all. Subscribe, because this is what I do here. I take the things that are quietly done to you and I make them simple, so you're the one in control. I'm Oliver Bennett. Know your rights before you need them, and I'll see you in the next one.